I'm going to deep dive a little bit more into some of the specifics. I hope you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen there. Uh, Looks like everybody can. Okay, so I've got about 15 minutes just to really hone in on some of the challenges and some of the trends that we're seeing around Industry 4.0. So what is Industry 4.0? So we've obviously evolved, and industry has evolved over time from mechanization to mass production. All the way into automation, and where we are today with Industry 4.0 and cyber physical systems. So some of the trends that we're seeing around Industry 4.0, obviously cybersecurity is top of mind. Increased dependence on network security, but becoming important competitive advantage, connecting everything together efficiently and securely. Connectivity and industrial IoT is again very important, with 51.4% of industrial assets connected by 2024. So that's a lot of scale, a lot of edge devices and Internet of Things connections over the next couple of years. Edge to cloud architectures, connectivity protocols, and nearly 35% of manufacturers plan to adopt IoT in the process. Employee safety is obviously paramount, as Renee talked about, obviously new COVID-19 and health and safety measures, traceability emphasis, monitoring entry and equipment use, monitoring also dangerous areas and hazardous products, like Renee talked about with the two-person occupancy limit in certain areas. And this obviously leads on to how we manage that data, that big data and that analytical information. So some of the security challenges and consumer needs around all of this technology. Internal and external theft, so breaches in the manufacturing facility itself. Supply chain management, as we're seeing at the moment, supply chain is key. If you get it wrong, it can have a knock-on effect for months, even years. So warehousing and transportation. And legacy facilities, so vulnerabilities within these aging manufacturing plants themselves. So internal and external theft really opens up into cybersecurity hybrids. And what we mean by cybersecurity hybrids, it's different methods of attacking, whether that be lateral on the network, somebody walking in with a USB stick that's infected and plugging it in, all the way to VPN connections into third-party vendors, for example. Cargo theft, vehicle-borne threats, industrial robot hijacking, which I didn't even know was a thing until I studied up on this presentation. So actually taking over some of the robotic equipment within the industry manufacturing areas. Employee access to video and recordings, as we know, is sensitive and leads to privacy concerns as well. And being able to trigger alarms as a distraction. So again, this is another thing, disrupting the manufacturing process by triggering alarms to get out of the building, or just create noise and disruption within that facility. And on the right-hand side, some key statistics here. 90% of manufacturing theft involves stolen intellectual property. 50% of theft includes physical assets being stolen, and nearly 2% of annual revenue is lost to fraud. So this industrial robot hijacking, it's a rising threat. Information theft, the ability to access trade secrets, gain access to files from a robotic controller, ability to bypass validation processes and release sensitive information. Physical harm, obviously, robot arms swinging around uncontrolled could harm somebody that's in the way. The ability to alter robotic status, the ability to freely turn on robots, and the ability to alter robotic movements. Micro defects, the ability to alter the programming, halting manufacture, and affecting the quality of the product line as a whole. So to summarize, industrial robot hijacking can lead to worker fatalities, as well as loss of productivity and also loss of reputation. If there's manufacturing defects, that obviously that reputation knock-on effect can take a very long time to gain back as well. So consumer needs, perimeter protection. We all know about video analytics and the benefits they bring in protecting a perimeter fence or a sterile area. But it goes so much more than just video analytics. Supply chain management, smuggling counterfeit goods, the data moving to the cloud, physical device tampering, and drone hacking. Again, this is a more recent threat, actually hacking the drones that are used around these facilities, not only the robot arms. Again, some more key statistics on the right-hand side. Nearly 95% of companies with improved supply chain can deliver more products on time. So it just comes back to this customer satisfaction, increasing the reputation of a company by providing a solid and efficient supply chain and customer service. Nearly 80% of supply chain attacks are increasing, and nearly 30% increase in cloud-based access control. So drones in industry, common uses, stock location. We've seen those robotic machines going around and barcode scanning stock on the shelves. You've got security and surveillance, inventory management, transportation of raw materials, so robotic forklift trucks, for example. The overall risks are the ability to access wireless networks and cause interference. This is nothing new. Gain access to proprietary information and trade secrets. And what this means for manufacturers, again, is this loss of productivity. Efficiency is hit, disrupting the entire manufacturing process. So a consumer need, multifaceted security approach, improving this response time, monitoring the packages and everything leading to the cloud. Old facilities, like we talked about, these legacy warehouses, have increased physical and cyber vulnerabilities. They were built well before the latest network technology was available. They've obviously had to retrofit a lot of their technology, which could be aging as well, which leads to employee safety concerns, slowly replacing equipment to keep up with Industry 4.0. So this retrofit can take time in itself, structured cabling needing to be put into the facility. And all of this is creating silos in the technology and the systems. Some statistics on the right-hand side again. So 28% of US manufacturing companies see an opportunity in new tech deployment. 34 manufacturers plan to introduce IoT in their process. So again, this is something that isn't going away. As we talk about technology, connectivity is paramount. Central communication, centralized monitoring, and access to your CCTV or your statistics, or actually finding out how well your week is going to go before you actually get in on your mobile phone driving into the office or into the warehouse. So threats to business continuity. Disruptions can lead to losses across the world due to global supply chains. Again, exactly what we're seeing at the moment. Downtime disrupts financial markets and consumer spending, affecting global brand image and reputation. This all comes back down to the reputation of the company, which can take years to rebuild if they have a cyber attack or they have a big supply chain issue. Let's look at some of obviously the security vendors at the moment out there. You've got some access control, some big names in access control and CCTV that are having 6-month lead times. This obviously has a knock-on effect with their reputation, which is going to take a good while to rebuild that reputation once they get these issues fixed. Ramifications, revenue loss. They can't supply product. Obviously, they can't earn money. The brand diminishment, if they can't supply product, customers will seek an alternative manufacturer and maybe will stay with that alternative manufacturer. The loss of valuable customers because of this. These might be customers that have had a long-standing relationship, but 6 months lead time is going to press any relationship to the limits. And forced closure. If you can't sell product, a lot of companies are going to go under. Malware, ransomware is one of the biggest threats, which is no surprise. Ransomware attack cost 310 million, including 135 million of lost sales for a company called Merrick. Dynamic communications to alert employees, stakeholders, and consumers, and obviously the need for a good disaster recovery plan. So a quick summary of the consumer needs: perimeter protection, access control. We talked about video analytics, using existing CCTV assets and turning on some video analytics on top of those cameras. Incident alerts, guiding the operators through a standard operating procedure on particular events, especially in the new way of doing things with COVID as well, making sure they know the new way of doing things step by step. Multifaceted supply chain security approach, improving response times, packaged monitoring and cloud solution as we see more and more migration to the cloud. And obviously with that comes connectivity. So centralized communication, leveraging the cloud, centralized monitoring, because we've got connectivity into the cloud, and mobile access.
So we're going to build a little bit on what we have been shared with by Lee earlier, as well as Renee, and run through a little bit of our product portfolio and how exactly is it that this will be able to help you guys in the manufacturing and office environments. So an overview of the available products from Genetec. On the left, you'd see the core products which Genetec offers. For the physical security side of things, we have the Omnicast, which is our video management. We also have Synergis, which is our access control portfolio. And the last one is our AutoView, which is the LPR portfolio, or the license plate recognition piece of our core product. On the right, you'll be able to see an extension of this offering from Genetec, starting from mission control, which is the standard operating procedure and incident management product piece. Secondly, you'll be able to identify Clear ID, which is the identity management piece from Genetec. And lastly, we'll have Clearance, which is our evidence management and sharing of information between different product parties. So how is our portfolio different from others in the market? We start off by a single building. When you are having a small organization, you start with your video management system, slowly building that systems gradually by adding different pieces or portfolios to your physical security products. Now, when you start to grow, you want to have the capability to combine these systems, because otherwise it would become disparate, right? Or it would be siloed. And how exactly is it that we are able to help you in the last sense is that we are not just providing you with physical security, but we are also allowing you to protect your personal data. So let's see from centralizing your security system, how exactly is this that you can leverage the offerings from Genetec in order to centralize your operations. So if you had a Genetec security system, usually you start off with your, what would be a small organization, or a lot of customers would usually start with their HQ and then subsequently expand from there. Then that would involve, having multiple plants or perhaps having additional office buildings. So from the view of the plant, how exactly is it that you're able to combine the different kind of systems that you have? So security center, like we have mentioned earlier, right, is there to secure your operations from the cameras to your door access, from your parking management to even your lighting management. And sometimes in some instances, we have gunshot detections and building management systems. So all of this can be combined into a single unified platform. a little bit of viewing on how exactly this would be, this would look like in our platform's user interface. By using the map, you'll be able to, interact with the campus per se. You'll be able to see an overview of how exactly the layout of your security systems are. You're also able to detect trends based on the dashboard, as you can see in the screenshot over here. We are also able to tabulate analytic information as well as parking occupancy information, so that you are able to get insightful information from your physical security system in a single unified dashboard view. There's also the capability of mobile applications. So we'll support Android and iOS, as a lot of the products in the market are available now. This will allow you to combine all these different things in a single mobile phone that will allow you to have mobility and accessibility to your security system. So there's some key features that we've identified that are specifically useful for the manufacturing industry. Starting off with the archive transfer. This allows you to maintain control of where your video storage, where video data are stored. For example, if you had a disaster recovery center, you want to have this store off-site to prevent loss of information, etc. We also have the global cardholder management that allows you to share your cardholder information or credentials across different sites. So somebody from a country is able to travel to a different country and still be able to access the doors that are available to his or her credential level. Next, we have intrusion and RSA. RSA stands for the restricted surveillance areas. So these are specifically meant for high secure areas, and then you're able to cover this as a perimeter detection. And as I mentioned earlier in the archive transfer section, we also have the capability to use disaster recovery configurations. This will protect your systems from failure up to 5 different sites. You're able to sustain access of your security platform, maintaining continuous uptime. Then the next one is visual tracking. We have the facility that allows you to track and pinpoint events as a suspect travels through different areas. We also have quick search, which will allow you to search your targets faster. It's a matter of identifying the differences between now and 5 hours later or 5 hours before. And lastly, of course, the capability of integrating your building automation platform or SCADAs into your security system so that you're able to maintain a unified overview. So how can we help you visualize your environment? How can we improve the way you visualize your environment? Like we see in a lot of customers' site at the markets, there's always this siloed information, right? Everyone's got their own system, own server. Sometimes they are not always centralized. And how is it possible for you to make an informed decision if your system is not centralized, if it's not unified? How can you detect different trends? There's how to improve your operations if the data is locked in individual containers. So using the Genetec system, there's always going to be a better way to understand and improve your business, right? Firstly, we are able to remove your silo by unifying your security environment, combining your video access control, and then subsequently, this combination will allow you to unify your reports and detect trends so that you're able to predict things before it happens. And lastly, of course, we are also able to guide and work with operators with embedded workflows so that they are able to know when a certain event happens, what should they do next, what is the next step that they needs to perform, do they need to escalate this to a next supervisor, etc. So a quick view of some of the products we have. What you see over here is a view of our dashboard that allows you to tabulate insightful information from the systems which have been integrated into our unified system, right? Of course, this is alongside the core physical security products that's offered by Genetec. So with that, you're able to uncover different trends, and this will also allow you to check on faulty contacts. Sometimes you have door contacts that will cause normal amounts of door force open events, and you want to know the differences of why is this happening. If you want to track whether the maintenance is carried out properly, you want to be able to inside a workflow so that they'll be able to track the frequency of this happening, etc. So next we will look at a guide action, or what we call the mission control product. So an overview of how you are able to see this is mission control allows you to create your own standard operating procedure. So this will allow you to prepare a simple flowchart, as you can see in the screenshot, that replaces incident response guide usually found in a logbook or a flip chart that's found in your security control centers. This is actually auditable, and you are able to dynamically change the contents depending on what kind of SOP that you are trying to attend to. Right? This is not just for your physical security system, but all the systems that have been integrated into the Genetec Security Center system, and you'd be able to clearly define steps that are required when there is an incident or an emergency. And the next one that we want to talk about is the clearance product. Genetec clearance is something that allows you to share and maintain information across different sites, across different servers, onto the cloud, so that you are able to allow different parties to collaborate and investigate on certain incidents. So if you had an incident that needs the assistance of higher authorities or different parties in the company, you're able to share this information onto the clearance platform. Next, you are looking at the Clear ID user interface, right? The Clear ID user interface is our physical identity management. So this allows you to, have greater control over your access control. So rather than the traditional way of registering and deregistering staff and visitors when they arrive, you have the capability of pre-registration, and you have the capability of knowing when a staff has changed their role from a manager to a director, for example, or if they have a relocation that needs them to change their rights from a certain country to another or certain building to another. This can all be managed from within the Clear ID workflow itself, and you'd be able to access all of this within the portal in a very guided step-by-step process. These are some of the additional add-ons which might be able to help you guys improve your operational value when it comes to using the Genetec Security Center system. The first one here being the RSA, as we've talked about a little bit earlier. This provides you with perimeter and intrusion monitoring for indoor and outdoor applications. You can use this within a certain premise or within the campus itself. The next one is the camera integrity monitor. So this system allows you to monitor the health of your camera, whether it was tampered, whether the angle has shifted. Most of the cameras in the market has built in this feature. However, using a server-based feature that is from Genetec will allow you to have greater visibility and tabulation of this data into your dashboard. Last one, of course, is the combination of visual tracking and quick search. As I briefly mentioned earlier, this allows you to expedite your investigation process because it will combine more possibilities of which angle of the camera it was entered in and where your cameras have looked at the suspect and so on. And on the last one is Stratocast. Stratocast is our fully cloud-based video monitoring solution. It's going to allow you to have better detail on how exactly is it your site's operation and so on. There are some customers which have the interests on cloud-based monitoring. This would be the solution that is for them. So this has totally no servers on premise, only the cameras, and these cameras will record directly into the cloud. So you're able to access this from your mobile phone, from your laptop, easily from, within, as long as you have internet connection, this is all that's required. So with that, I think that's going to be the last slide, and I will end my presentation over here. Thank you very much.